You know, when you think about it, every year seems to go by faster and faster because as you get older, your perception of time changes. With new experiences and age and responsibilities, we view and value time differently relative to where we are in life, actually. I know that Einstein said that time is relative and actually slows down due to gravity and acceleration, but let's not get into the logistics of space-time. And it's interesting because the older we get, the more routine and structured our lives become, whereas before when you were a kid, pretty much most experiences are new because you're young, you don't have any experiences. It's kind of why kids generally have a higher vibration than most adults. Kids know how to live in the present because they're not rooted in the past or the future. I mean, they don't really have a past to regret or a future to worry about. And that's essentially why everything seems so fun as a kid. Every experience, every friend you met, everything you did. Whereas when you get older, you start becoming an adult. Obviously you got more responsibility, but we're constantly having regrets about the past, wishing we could have done things different, and we're constantly having worries or anxieties about the future every single day. And it's funny because we're never able to not think about the past or the future, which is why the present just flies by. And the older you get, the more ingrained you become in society and politics and current events and finance and careers and climbing the social and corporate ladder or whatever it is. And to be honest, most if not all of these things lower your vibration and take you away from being in the present moment. And it's kind of cliche and I mentioned it a few times, but happiness is found in the present moment. And sometimes we have moments that bring us back to how we felt when we were kids. Whether it's a hangout with friends you haven't seen in a while or spending the holidays with family, traveling, these things immerse you back in the present moment because it takes you back to when you were younger. Again, because when we were younger, we would be a lot more present in those moments, which is why those moments felt the happiest. And that's why so many people getting older do a bunch of things to try and recreate that feeling, try to stop time in a sense. You know, whether that's getting absolutely wasted on the weekends, getting high, doing drugs, partying, traveling as much as possible, you know, kind of putting on a facade, trying to hang out with as many people as possible. They're trying to recreate feelings that they had once before. I think one of the saddest and weirdest things ever is when people in their 20s think the fun or the best part of their lives are behind them, and that it's only downhill from here. I mean, obviously because it's far from the truth, but more than anything, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, if that's what you believe, then that's what your reality will become. It's kind of the basis of manifestation. It's funny because every time I talk about manifestation, I feel like a girl that's into horoscopes. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, it's just funny. But yeah, we take for granted the power of free will, and I guess on a philosophical level, human beings in general for centuries have taken advantage of free will, and free will is what allows us to mold and create our destiny, if you will. So I guess in a way I do sympathize with those that feel that way about time and life, but I can't relate to it. You gotta have the mentality that life only gets better from here, and that no societal BS can change that. But I do get where that idea comes from. It's basically embedded in our culture. Because the thing is, we think that there's checkpoints for life based on social media and what we see from other people. And then that messes with the relationship that we have with time. You know, in the sense that we're always in a rush to get to each imaginary checkpoint by a certain age, whether it's social, career, or financial. I mean, it literally makes no sense, and that's another reason why the older people get, the more they feel like time is slipping from them. Because not only are they focused on the wrong things, but they're placing their time and that value in their time on the wrong ambitions. You know, I read something interesting, and it's that the time between 5 years old and 15 years old feels exponentially longer than 30 to 60. And even though that sounds crazy because logistically that makes no sense, I'm sure a lot of people would agree to that. And I think this is because when we're young, we only have so many memories. Each year becomes a smaller fraction of our lives. 1 year is way more significant to, let's say, a 10-year-old as opposed to like a 30-year-old. And of course, the older we get, the more experiences and memories we create, so we begin to filter out all the non-significant periods of time. We kind of start to filter out all the unimportant things, so that we got more room in our brain to remember the important things. And it's funny because whenever friends reminisce about the past, or we run into someone from like high school or middle school, they're always like, remember this and so, and I'm just like, not really, because I don't even remember what happened last year. As a matter of fact, I don't even know what year it is. And besides, I don't really like to reminisce on the past because I don't like to live in the past. But I guess it's also because I'm way more optimistic about the future. Now, but we all really do have such a weird relationship with time, or most people do at least. And that time is definitely relative to where you are in life and your life circumstances. Like, if you're heading towards the end of the road, your perception of time is probably exactly how it should be for most people. You see how finite it is, and your perspective and values start to align perfectly. On the opposite side though, if you're a kid at the beginning of your road, you probably don't value time a lot, if at all. You know, you're kind of just looking for the next fun thing to happen, wishing you could skip all the boring moments. Which is how it should be for kids, honestly, like, don't worry about time. And it's kind of funny because all kids want to be is they want to be grown up, right? They want to be an adult. And most adults, or even older folk, all they want to be is to be young again, to have some time back. The only difference is that kids will eventually all be adults, but adults can never go back to being a kid. I mean, I guess you can be a kid at heart, but you get what I'm saying. And then most people in the middle, they do value time, but that time is misplaced in different things as it pertains to what they do with that time. And this is where most people try to figure out their relationship with time. I think something that's key for all of us is to keep having new experiences and doing new things. I mean, it's just a core part of human nature to want to elevate, evolve, and innovate. And obviously it's hard because of the society we live in though. Most people work 9 to 5s. Retail jobs make up the majority of jobs in the US. Most of your downtime is being fed with bullshit current events, politics, while you try to wrestle with mental and physical health while trying to have a social life. I mean, it's kinda no wonder why time and life gets away from most of us who live in a fast-paced society. And this part is just my personal belief, but I believe that our society is specifically designed to make a majority of people live at a very low vibration. And if you ask why, it's because life is a game. In our society, there are winners and there are losers. That's essentially the game of capitalism. There are people who sit at the top and people who reside at the bottom. And when you sit at the top, you become bored. When you gain power, you naturally want to influence that power and mold the world, society, and people to your vision. Actually, Squid Games kind of touched on this for a bit, but no one really talked about it or picked up on it, no surprise. But basically, Squid Games, which I'm assuming most people saw, touched on 2 sides of money and greed. One on the side of the impoverished and how people allow greed to bring out ugly sides of human nature. And on the other end, the opposite of the impoverished are the wealthy elites, the powerful, who were so bored after obtaining all the money in the world, created this game to treat people, the impoverished, like racehorses, to gamble, to see what they're willing to do and how far they would go for money, and to allow someone from the impoverished side to fight and kill to pretty much bridge the dividing gap between the lower and higher class. So going back to our relationship with time in Western culture, it's no wonder why time seems to get away from all of us. With the way our society works and the pace it moves, we have this false idea that we have to keep up or even be ahead of others, like we're in an imaginary race. And most people lose this race, not because they didn't make it to the finish line, rather because when they reach the finish line, there's nothing left but to die. And they realize that too late. They wasted all that time chasing things that hold no true meaning or value. That they spent all this time putting themselves in an imaginary race only to realize we all have the same finish line regardless. And yeah, that's pretty much the basis for this commentary. And if you made it to the end, thanks, love you guys. And forget about a new year. Every day is a new day. Immerse yourself in the present and live your life to the fullest. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment, or sub. And with that said, make sure you stay true, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. And see you real soon. Peace.